What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to showcase and kind of walk you through my build process of my most recent Mandalorian MOC. This MOC is showcasing a scene within The Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 3, and I am so excited to show it off to you. So without further ado, we'll hop right into it. First off, I am so happy with this MOC. Every time I look at it, I just get so excited and just happy with how it came out, and I am now super honored and excited to show it to y'all. So we'll do this kind of going from the front end all the way to the back end in order, and then at the end of this I'll show you some still photos of various scenes I recreated with the minifigures from The Mandalorian. So coming on up to the front here, the first thing you see is this massive fin, and it looks so good. I originally was going to do a fully plate design, but I ended up going with a little bit of a hybrid brick design as well as plates in order to get the details I wanted, specifically these cutouts on the top here that weren't going to be possible with the plates that I had, or any plates that I know of, frankly. Now moving down a little bit, we get some various details. We get what I think is probably some sort of turbine or something down there, as well as these curved retaining walls. I'm pretty happy with how those turned out. And just various like bars and guns, I guess, poking off the front that are accurate to the source photos that you're going to find out there. Now, if we go down just a little bit further, you get a little bit of a peek of the underside. You got these little like stabilizing fins on the side, and they're connected with just some snot work there and this hinge off to the side. And I also just attached a few little bars here and here in order to make it look like it was more connected as well, and that was accurate to the source material. Now, getting this angle was actually, it wasn't that difficult, but it was a little bit of a mind game to figure out how to get that, as well as to fill it in on top. And I was pretty happy with how that came out. I used some angled wedge plates below, and then used some just angling Technic bricks, I guess, closer to the ends here in order to get the angle to match up. And I think it came out pretty well. Now we're going to go along the side here towards the back, and then we'll check out the deck and the cabin here in a second. But going along this side, you'll see these different ski pieces. Those are accurately representing different textures and details you see in the reference images. I used I believe it's a legal technique. It might be illegal, hit me up, let me know. But I just put these plates in, these tiles in on their sides to get the vents or the graded look that you see in the show. And then we've got the door here, which I'm pretty happy with, just like being able to get it seamless and to fit into this gap just perfectly and be accurate to the material. Now we go down a little bit further, and a couple things over here. I'm pretty proud of the railing here. It should be like thinner. In reality, it should be like, I don't know, Lego string thin. But of course that's not possible, at least not with the bricks and pieces that I have. And so I was pretty happy with these pneumatic T-bars, as well as these faucets and Technic pin technique to get the message across. And I think they came out pretty all right. Now we've got these tubing here. I'll show you a earlier image, a rendition of how this siding looked before. But looking at that, you'll see a bunch of different like plants and various just random greebling. Whereas coming back to here, I focused more on the reference images to get it more accurate, and I'm pretty happy with these pipes that I was able to get along the side here. There should be another one of these thicker ones right below it, but with the space I had and the scaling of this MOC, that wasn't really possible. Now you might be wondering what these different oddly colored pieces are. They're supposed to be like these packaging or crates and barrels kind of strapped to the side, and I think they look pretty good. If I had another net to my disposal, I might have tried to attach it to cover it to more accurately convey what you see in the show, but it's alright. I think it looks great, and that pop of color kind of draws your eye towards those details over there, and I think that is a wonderful thing. Now moving over a little bit more, we've got this engine here, and this wasn't actually that hard to design. The trick though was figuring out how to connect it, and ultimately I ended up using some ball joints. You can see down there it pulls out a little bit, but that's the best way I could get the angle, as well as just get it attached to there sturdily, and I think it looks pretty good. I was able to get some of the similar texturings that you see in the film. Of course, most of the reference images and the shots in the show that I had were not great at all, but I think this turned out pretty great. And just another angle at those engines. You've got the little slots there that are pretty accurate to what you see in the show. Now coming around to the back here, we've got the back side of the engines, which I just put them as transparent blue pieces, and we've got some more, I guess, creative influence or liberties taken here, as the reference images for the backside were particularly bad, but I knew there was some sort of harpoon gun, so I've got that right here, and I think that looks pretty good. And then I just did various texturing. I put in these crane pieces, which were also from the reference images. I imagine they're used to haul like bigger fish, or I honestly think they might be more pirates than fishermen, so maybe other ships towed in. I'm not sure. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments below, what these hook things could have been used for. But I also added some greebling to the back here. I assumed from the images I had that it was like some sort of tubing, and I think that looks pretty good, pretty clean on the back there. Now we'll keep going around. It's more or less a mirrored image on this other side, but there is just some slight varieties in the coloring of the pieces, which one of the blessings of this MOC being kind of a weathered, rusted, corroded ship is like colors mattered, but not that much. So by the time I was getting to the siding, I was running out of like lots of light gray and dark gray plates and tiles, right? And so I was able to intermix them, and it came out pretty good and gives you that nice weathered look that you would expect. But yeah, we'll just pan you along the side here. Nothing too crazy to point out. There isn't a door, which is accurate to the source material. So just straight siding all the way across. And this side you never actually see in the film, nor in any reference images I could find out there. And that brings us all the way up to this top portion. So we'll take a look at the front portion of the deck right here. I've got various crates. This is supposed to be like a trap or a cage of some sort, and I think it looks all right. I think if those arm pieces were like brown or all like dark gray, maybe they'd look better, but I'm not sure. But you've got this little spool here. I'm not sure what that does in canon. And then this is supposed to be like a cloth covering a few crates, and I think it looks all right, but I do have a cape that I think if I fiddled with or had a couple others, I might have been able to get a good design with, but I think that looks all right despite it being just purely brick built. Now, moving along here, we're looking at the deck. This is one of the main scenes. I'll include some shots of it here afterward. But this is where the Quarren guy here had begged or convinced the Mandalorian to take Grogu and him to go check out as they feed this monster down below the grate there. And the grate I'm not super happy with, but it's kind of what I had. I didn't have any better pieces, and it fills a need, but I'm pretty happy though with this border here. If we take a closer look here, you'll see that it's rising above the rest of the platform by about half a plate, and that is entirely accurate, and I am so proud. It took me a long time to get the snot work to line up with just the snot base here, and then fitting in this rectangle or square there, and having that just a little bit higher than the rest there was a lot of hurdles to come over and jump over to get to that, and I think it turned out pretty good. Now we'll take a quick look at the crane here, and I think that looks pretty darn good. It's not my favorite thing out there that I've put on this ship, but it's supposed to be thicker on the top and this thin rod, and then I've got the cables and the net, and so it's got the basics, but somebody out there definitely could do better than what I have right here. But moving on past that, we have a plethora of different crates sitting on this snot platform. And all of them are inspired by crates you see in the scenery. Most notably right here, this orange one is pretty spot on accurate to what you're seeing, as well as just these various red barrels. And this is kind of an example of what they're looking like. If we set it aside here, the top piece is kind of like a train wheel piece that kind of just slips on top of that pole that I stuck in there. It's the too long bar piece with the little divot. And I think they turned out pretty good. That train piece, which I only had 3 of, was kind of crucial in making it look as good as it does, as the other ones with just the radar dish on top are kind of boring. But also with them mixed into it, I think it looks great. But now you take a look, we've got this guy kind of at this console right here. He's controlling the crane arms and the net. And then at last, just a last little peek at just the snot ground. You can't tell because of the clearness of the deck, thankfully, but it is slightly off by like a half plate. It's not entirely centered, but that's just a result of the snot building technique and how wide the ship ended up being. And if you haven't gathered it already, this ship is pretty darn close to minifigure scale. I think if I were to extend the length of the deck right here, add like 4 studs, and make it maybe 1 to 2 studs wider, this thing would be perfectly in scale, for my recollection and knowledge, to how it would be if it were converted from in-universe to Lego 1-to-1, or, well, you know, minifigure scale, not 1-to-1. But I think it looks pretty darn good for that. Now we'll take a nice little turnabout here and take a closer look at the cabin section here. And right here, it's kind of hard to see, but I've got these different V shapes right here, and those are kind of the support pillars for the roof. I went through a couple different renditions on how I wanted to get this roofing put in, and I think it turned out pretty good. This ended up being the least complex, and often the more straightforward answer is the better answer. And it's probably hard to tell, but each of these walls, this is tilted in on each side, as well as when we come around to the back is tilted in as well. And I think it came out pretty good. I'd used some various techniques, snot techniques, to get that. The whole cabin sections, top and bottom, are entirely snot techniques, and I think they turned out pretty darn good. Sorry they're a little bit hard to see. I'm going to do another video later on where I kind of break down more of these techniques, so keep an eye out for that one. But coming around to the side, we'll again just do this lower layer. We've got more of the snot technique here, and right here you'll see the whole angle for the back part. And again, it's pinched in on the sides, so it's like if you were to continue, it'd come out as like a pyramid. And I think it looks so good. Now these are on just like the hinge pieces, so thankfully I can move them aside. But we move them aside there, and you've got what is supposed to be a door. I used a lot of the sticker pieces from the ATST Raider set from season 1, I believe, of The Mandalorian. And those honestly added a lot of detail to it with the gunshots and the white spray paint or paint on there. Just look really clean and good. Now coming around back, we've seen the back pretty good. Again, just had a cool angle going on there. And we'll come around to this side. This side is just about the same. It's about a mirror image. I've got just like various, like the door and these little panels here are inset about half a plate, and I think those look really good. And that was just thanks to some bracket pieces and the fact that this whole thing is a snot technique. And oh boy, I think it looks so good. But moving up a little bit, we've got this upper layer here, and it's not pinched in on the sides, but there is an angle here on the back that was just done with a ball joint connection in the back. And I also used some of the Millennium Falcon, the episode 9 rendition of the Millennium Falcon, just various stickered pieces from that, and I think those look pretty good right there. I've got the little smokestack that you see, a little chart on top. And if you look on the very top, we've got just various texturing that I tried my best to kind of mirror what we have going on in the reference images, and I think it looks pretty good. Now if we lift this panel up, you get a little bit of a view of the underside. I've got just various grill plates there and just various textures and greebling built within the walls that I think came out pretty good. Again, a little inset and some gaps and piping that you can see through the top there. Another thing that I thought looked pretty good on this build is this railing. It's not, I was going to try to do like a flex tube technique, but that wasn't going to work out. And I'm pretty happy with how these lightsaber handles, these ink file, like the 1x1s with a rod sticking out on top of it with these curved plates and tiles look. And I think this came out pretty darn well. You can see again in the front right there, I've got just like different lights that you see from the show, and I think it looks pretty good, especially with all like the clutter and the cordage and everything that goes on along with this ship. I am very happy with just its overall composition and how it came out. But y'all let me know what you think. What kinds of videos do you want to see with this going on? Do you want to see technique breakdowns, or do you want to see more just like various shots? I've thought about a stop motion. I don't know if I will do that, but I might look into it. I'm not super skilled in that, and that would take a while. Whereas I really just love building, and I need a lot of these pieces back in my collections before I get back to that. But again, let me know what y'all think down in the comments below, and until next time, I'll catch you later.